The other dimensional power of Dimension W erupts in this week's episode as Kiyoma and Mira team up to battle against a flamboyant art thief with a secret motive. Well, I already know who my favorite character from Dimension W is. It is without a doubt the slick and amazing thief known as Loser. Yeah, that's actually his name. There is a character in this series who goes by the name of Loser. I also have to say that the design of this character is pretty freaking awesome. It looks like what would happen if Lelouch from Code Geass lived in the world of Tiger and Bunny. He's super powered, he's super skilled, and he is super flamboyant. So this week's episode of Dimension W was another acid trip of awesomeness. It was just a really fun episode, showing us more of how the world works and how this whole new Tesla organization has completely screwed over the lives of many people in this seemingly perfect world. This episode is about this father and son duo of thieves who are looking for these specific coils with numbers. This hero or thief goes by the name of Loser. The reason that he's called this is because whenever he tries to steal something like a big art object, he never actually steals anything. But while he does all of this stuff, he broadcasts all of it to the public, sort of treating it like this big show, and the authorities don't really know when to kick the door in. They don't know if this guy is serious or if it's some sort of really big publicity stunt. But Loser is actually trying to find these secret coils, which are hidden in all of these different art pieces. The reason he's doing this, of course, is because he's another one of those characters who has lost everything, and he's been completely damaged himself, and when he reveals his face in this episode, holy crap, is that gonna be nightmare fuel! It's like a combination of Freddy Krueger and Two-Face. And this is, of course, a complete juxtaposition to his actual nature, where, like I said, he's incredibly flamboyant and displays a lot of ridiculousness in this episode. But he also happens to be super powered because he's basically an android. He's kind of like Darth Vader or General Grievous from Star Wars, where his body was completely damaged, but his arms and legs are all mechanical, and that allows him to battle in some really cool ways. And of course, he's basically, again, the exact opposite of the character of Kiyoma, a character who lives in the past, who is constantly trying to chase this guy down in this episode, when reluctantly they do have to team up against each other when they're attacked by these robotic knights, in one hell of a kick-ass action scene. The other thing that's really cool about this episode is that we get to see what happens when you mess with illegal coils and what happens when things can go completely wrong with them. Because there's this one guy who owns this museum and he does not want Loser to steal his artifacts. Basically, he doesn't want the bad press. He doesn't want to be the first person who had something stolen from Loser, so he decides to attack him with his two fembot droid girls, these two bombastic blonde chicks who get easily defeated by Kiyoma, and another really great, fantastic action scene demonstrating his powers with his needles and his knives. But however, when he tries to get rid of the evidence and the fact that he was using these illegal coils, something goes wrong, and there's this like weird other dimensional rift which starts to like rip apart in time and space, and basically he gets sucked into that, and his body and all different parts of his body parts get multiplied all over this giant thing, which erupts into this like giant mass of like blood, androids, and human parts. It's really, frankly, quite disturbing, even more so by the fact that he actually still has consciousness. They might be able to fix him, but I don't know how the hell they're going to put that Humpty Dumpty back together. We also got to see more of Mira in action this week, who, thank God, was not as fanservice as she was in the first episode. Here in this one, she's basically just super adorable, but she also gets to demonstrate some of her powers. She actually ends up finding Loser's second-in-command, which is actually his son, and they don't really get into their relationship all that much, unfortunately. They're still going to try and keep them very mysterious, and at first I honestly thought this Loser character was going to end up being maybe the main villain of the series. It looks like he might actually be a very strong ally to Kiyoma, so I can't wait to see more of this character in the future, but I don't quite trust him quite yet. I want to learn more about this character. What I will say, he's definitely the coolest looking character I've seen from the show thus far. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dimension W? Another high-octane sci-fi adventure, which I really could recommend to just about anybody. I think this is going to be one of the biggest mainstream anime hits of 2016. It's just got a lot of style behind it, and I love the character designs just oh so much. Loser looks so incredible. He's this just weird mixture of just cool kick-ass robot and just super Liberace flamboyant look. Just the look of his cape. That scene where he was attacking those two guards and just the style completely changed. It was so ridiculous. Like, he really wasn't out to hurt any of those guys. He's just trying to track down these illegal numbered coils, which I'm sure are going to be very important, maybe a little more towards the end of the series, but we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know. This episode was basically an excuse to expand a little bit on the world and see all these other people which exist in it, and to let us know that while everything looks all nice on the surface, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes which are really messed up. Another thing that I really loved about this episode, again, is just the intro and the outro. I commented on them in my review of the first episode, but man, have they really grown on me. They're both so fantastic. With the first intro basically focusing a little bit more on the character of Kiyoma, and the one at the end focusing more on the character of Mira. They're both really good, and they both stand on their own, and I'm really growing attached to these characters quite a bit. There really wasn't all that much characterization between the characters of Mira and Kiyoma this week. Just the fact that, again, she has to be forced to live with him because he was the one who brought her to marry, so that's the way it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to become more important, though, as the series goes on. Can't wait to see which character is going to influence who the most first. I have a feeling Mira is probably really going to get under Kiyoma's skin, but still, this was a fantastic episode right here of this incredibly inventive sci-fi anime series. So I'm going to give this episode right here a 5 out of 5. I really loved it. I know I'm giving it a perfect score, and, you know, there's still so much mystery behind the series, but I just found myself incredibly entertained watching this episode and got a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I can definitely recommend this to just about any anime fan. So check it out, guys. Dimension W, it's pretty freaking awesome. But if you did watch this week's episode of Dimension W, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. What did you think of the character of Loser and his son? Did you think they were a really great introduction to the series? Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? Maybe from Kiyoma or from Mira? What do you want to see from the rest of Dimension W? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. You guys are so awesome. Make sure to like the video if you would like to, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.